Good day. I will approach the topic of INCELS from the perspective of reincarnation. I know about the existence of reincarnation from my personal experiences, which I had in my life. I've talked about that in my other videos and also in my free book, Simple Truths of Life. If you're interested, you can find the details there. Let me just tell you that reincarnation is not a belief for me. It is knowledge. And I was even able to find one of my previous lives, and that confirms the correctness of my conclusions, which I am gonna talk about in this video. Much of what I said can be proven, and I even recorded 2 telekinesis sessions to show and prove that telekinesis is reality, and not a fantasy of some books, movies, or video games. To begin with, I'll talk very briefly about the main thing. The universe was created by the superior intelligence, which implanted a part of itself into a human being. The superior intelligence wanted to receive the sensations that people experience while living in their physical bodies, but it did not want to receive bad sensations. To filter them, there are 9 higher selves, which you may have heard about when people who had a near-death experience said that they saw the light at the end of the tunnel. That light is the higher self. Further, all actions and decisions have consequences, and we must suffer for our wrong decisions. This is one of the reasons why many incels cannot find a partner, no matter what they do. It should be noted that sex is a normal, natural thing in the universe for people. But in order not to make a mistake, there must be love and spiritual affinity between the partners. If people sleep with everyone, act in XXX films, cheat, etc., then one of their subsequent lives may well be spent without any sexual experience and love. If a person learns his lesson, he understands why sexual interactions with just anyone is a mistake, in our case, then he will acquire spiritual knowledge. And, for example, we will assume that in the next life the person will have a body that will be liked by others, and other areas of his human being will also be liked by people. He will no longer sleep with casual people. He will eventually find a mate and will no longer cheat on them. I found confirmations of many of my ideas when I found my previous life. It would take a long time to explain why I'm sure that it was my soul which inhabited that body. I'm planning to make another video and also write a free ebook about that topic. And there I'm going to present all the available evidence so that people can validate my claims if they want to. For now, I'll just say the name. Vivian Mary Hartley, also known as the actress Vivian Lee. Vivian had many positive moments in her life, but, alas, mistakes were also made. She stole husbands, cheated, and slept with other casual people. There are many scenes in her films that are reflected in my life. So it turns out that even some details in the film and stage roles can be an error for the actor, unless, as I assume, the character portrayed is punished for his mistakes in the story. The thing is, movies have an influence on people. This is obvious and logical. And when a character is not punished for mistakes, then some viewers may have the impression that the wrong action is actually the right one, and he may want to repeat it in life, hurting others in the process. Of course, this is just one simple example. I won't go into details here, but it was the seemingly innocent roles in the films in which I played in my life as Vivian Lee that were part of the reason for my stuttering, baldness, heart problems, and some of the main details of my experience with the girl named Natasha, who had to engage in prostitution, are almost exactly reflected in several scenes in the film Waterloo Bridge. In my life as Vivian Lee, I did not suffer much for those mistakes, but in this life I am paying in full. While studying Vivian's life, I found many reflections and interconnections with my current life. But not all erroneous decisions of a past life are absolutely accurately reflected in the next. There is still much to be learned about the process of reincarnation, but so far it appears that various factors influence the events that we must encounter in our lives. Besides reincarnation, there are other reasons why some people cannot find a partner. Here the reason lies in the decisions made in this life. I've noticed that some incels look for a partner based on appearance. This is also a mistake. I believe that in any life situation, people make a decision that they believe will bring them some benefit, and it can be both material and spiritual. And those decisions are based on the material and spiritual knowledge that those people have regarding that life situation. Therefore, if a person does not have a spiritual knowledge at all, then he will mainly seek benefit for himself. And it does not matter if his actions negatively affect other people. This person could be you too. Of course, beautiful people can also be very spiritual people who have lived many lives and learned many lessons from them. What I'm saying here is that you shouldn't be obsessing with appearances. Focus more on who the person is in his moral, intellectual, and spiritual qualities. Further, some incels, not understanding the reasons for their suffering, their own wrong decisions in past lives, go to the extreme and take the lives of other people, believing that this way they will somehow punish society for their own problems caused by their own decisions. Fortunately, there are not many such people. In fact, they made another mistake, for which they will also have to suffer. When the ex-criminal does live a family life, someone or something will take away from him one of the members of his family, and perhaps all of them, so that he finds out on his own hide what the relatives of the people whose lives he once took experienced. Of course, in some cases, prison can also be the price to pay for a mistake. Perhaps in some cases it can even pay for the error completely. But if such a criminal decided to avoid a prison term and removed himself from life, then in this case, in addition to all of the above, I believe he will have to be an incel again. After all, he has not learned his lesson. In the end, I will mention that there are other joys in life besides sex. Instead of focusing on this topic, you can engage in self-development, acquiring spiritual understanding about life. After all, spiritual knowledge, unlike material knowledge, is not erased when we are born into a new life. And it will definitely help you not to make new old mistakes in your next lives. Also, the psyche is part of the soul, and therefore does not die either. And the data in the psyche is also preserved and passes with us from life to life. Therefore, if a person has psychological problems, it would not hurt him to eliminate them in his current life. I know this from my own experience, now that I have found one of my past lives. I have many psychological similarities with Vivienne Lee. As you may know, she suffered mentally. The problems were not completely resolved, and at certain moments in my current life, those unresolved problems showed themselves. But I was able to learn enough about psychology during self-analysis to eliminate many of my psychological problems. Sometimes old habits bring back old problems, but I have made great progress. And knowing the exact cause of much of my suffering may help me finally break free of the remaining negative habits I've had for a couple of decades. I won't make this video very long, and so I will end it here. Thank you for watching, and I hope that this video helps other people in some way.